Hi, my name is Anthony Shingleton from Simpler Consulting. Over the next videos I'll be talking about some of the challenges pharmaceuticals companies face and ways they can resolve them. No video should last more than 10 minutes, simply because people tell me they like to view them over a coffee break or while on the move. In today's session, I look at the top 10 challenges this industry faces as an overview. In each of the following 10 videos I will focus on one challenge using A-free thinking as if I was about to solve this business problem. As a former chemist and research scientist, I've always been surprised by this industry. With time to market lasting 15 to 20 years, a world running out of diseases and illnesses to cure profitably, small companies coming in as competitors, more sophisticated supply chain models, and patients wanting to see evidence that treatment is working for themselves, it's no surprise this industry is suffering. The mergers of the 80s and 90s have only delayed the issue that has always faced this industry and that other sectors have already addressed, i.e. productivity in R&D, manufacture, quality and approval times. What's worse is in the absence or slow pace of improvements in quality, regulators are imposing heavier and heavier rules to protect patients from faulty products and services. One might say this is an industry under siege from all sides. Depending on who you are and where you are in the value stream, you may feel the order is different, and that's okay. It's not about being right in terms of ranking, but recognizing the challenge as an important one. I talk about value stream simply because talking about customer journey or supply chain are only facets of a value stream. So, number one challenge. I call this breakthrough reorganization. Some might say the golden era is over. With fewer and fewer patented drugs in their portfolios, companies are facing huge pressures on margins and their fixed costs. In the past, a pharmaceutical had everything it needed in-house. Today is quite the opposite, and here lies a challenge. How much do you keep in-house? What about technology? Treating patients might involve technology, but since this is not a skill that is sufficient to have in-house, you definitely need to collaborate. In other cases, pressures on margins and lead times mean that large batches is no longer profitable. So much of what companies allowed to be successful in the past is no longer valid. Number two, targeting the right patient. There was a time where you would produce one drug with a disclaimer for a variety of patients. Tomorrow is going to be about pinpointing who a drug works for rather than what drug to create. Globalization means that you will have to find a treatment for all those patients you did not want to look after for whatever reason, geographical or financial or whatever. Some people talk about this being the era of drugs for you rather than a drug XYZ for curing particular illnesses. In this chase for patient, data is becoming a new differentiator, and especially external patient data. Tomorrow, data scientists and big data will help companies better plan quantities, when to produce, where to produce, and how best to bring treatment to patients. Today we have a choice, and since loyalty is not something pharma companies have focused on in the past, whoever does a better job will simply get the business. Number 3. Speed to market. How quickly can you prove that your drug treatment works well and safely? With new treatments coming out thick and fast from startup, mid-sized pharmas and the big companies, it is becoming critical to gain approval fast. It's very unlikely that you'll be alone in the provision of treatments. Speed to market could make the difference, especially if companies start focusing on customer loyalty. When margins are high, it is quite usual to see effectiveness being achieved at the expense of efficiency and cost. And here lies a challenge for this industry. They need to improve the effectiveness while lowering the cost and improving efficiency at the same time. Number 4. Removing complexity. Due to size, regulation and quality levels, pharmaceuticals have added layer upon layer of requirements without always questioning the removal of existing ones. Without new competitors entering a market, there comes a time where the entire industry embarks on major simplification initiative. The need to do this becomes even more urgent when new players come into your market. A perfect example is the telco industry. The same is happening here in the life science industry, where advances in automation, artificial intelligence, and true value stream thinking is driving the need to reevaluate all functions from R&D all the way to distribution. Number 5. Value-based commercial models. When only one treatment was available, it was possible to dictate a price for a drug-based treatment. This business model might still be around, but not to the same extent in terms of size of market and product portfolio. With competing treatments, governments and providers have been moving to value-based pricing. This represents a challenge, and pharmaceuticals not embracing this model might suffer the same fate as companies like Kodak and Nokia. Number 6. Allow myself to treat myself. Never before has the statement "client is king" rang so true. Today the treatment has to come to me on my terms and in a way that I can administrate it myself. So if you think in terms of the concept of job to be done, this means that patients want more than the functional aspects of a treatment. To some extent there is a need to focus on what we call emotional, social and ancillary jobs to be done when looking at treating a patient. Number 7. Redefining and finding top talent. If I was on the market today with a master's and PhD in chemistry I acquired over 4 years, that simply would not be enough. I would need to be far more digitally literate and be taught how to work remotely in a team with broad skills. University does not teach you this, and here's one of the challenges, is that skill set is in constant change. In some respects it goes to show that the one-man band, know-it-all, simply cannot exist, and this presents the industry with the question of how to build this talent. You simply cannot be, or don't even need to be, the subject matter authority on a particular illness or chemistry. In a world that's going faster and faster and where cost is becoming more and more important, R&D team productivity and output can make the difference between success and failure. Number 8. Data-driven decision making. Why is this a challenge, you may ask? Is this industry not about data? Well, let's just say that it's not about just scientific data, and here lies the problem. Where other industries have been used to capturing and analysing all sorts of data, this has not been the case for this industry. In a world where there is a need to move to small batches, produce only when needed, and to see to particular groups in particular locations, one can only succeed if decisions can be made using live data and ideally demand data rather than past performance data. Number 9. Give more data but keep it private. Another word for this is cybersecurity. In a data-driven world there needs to be free flow of information in secure ways. Only people allowed to see data need to be able to access it, manipulate it and transfer it. Complexity is the enemy of security, as we can see from all the security breaches with smartphones or social media platforms. And finally, number 10. Focus on well-being rather than cure. For more reasons than one, society is driving a push towards well-being, stopping the disease before it needs treatment. In such a changing world, life sciences need to review their focus and commercial strategy, as they may just become commodity supplies fighting on cost and where the relationship with the patient is owned by a tech firm. While there will always be money to be made from drug-related treatment, the healthcare market is clearly shifting towards prevention rather than cure. That's it for this session. In the next one I will cover challenge number 1 in more detail, i.e. breakthrough organisation. If you'd like to drop a comment or feedback, you can do by commenting on my LinkedIn page or write to me at anthonyshingleton@ibm.com. Please see below for further details on how you can get in touch with me. And thanks for listening.